Common Core is a highly debated topic in education. Let's begin with defining Common Core. According to the Core Standards website, Common Core are math and English language arts literacy standards. The purpose of these standards is to prepare students to be successful for college or entry-level careers once they graduate high school. 42 states have voluntarily adopted the Common Core standards. This map shows the states that have and have not adopted the Common Core standards. The goal of these standards was to create consistent learning goals in all states. According to the Common Core website, corestandards.org, the standards are research and evidence-based, clear, understandable, and consistent, aligned with college and career expectations, based on rigorous content and application of knowledge through higher order thinking skills, built upon the strengths and lessons of current state standards, and informed by other top performing countries in order to prepare all students for success in our global economy and society. Let's take a look as some teachers shared their personal thoughts about the challenges of implementing Common Core standards in the classroom.
What challenges have you faced since the implementation of the Common Core state standards?
First challenge I see is the gradual release. They should have really used that model when implementing the new curriculum, starting with the kindergarten and then gradually releasing it throughout the grade levels. I think there you would have a better tracking system, as well as the children would have a better found prior knowledge. Because the Common Core seems to have a loss of rigor because of its repetitive practice with the different standards, I think that the children lose sight on the different practices and understanding that they all correlate to coming to the same response. For example, a lot of times the children will do multiplication in multiple ways, but they've been programmed based on the learning from the previous standard to just do the simple multiplication or to learn the multiplication fact. Here we're asking them to learn it using number lines, equal groups, repeat addition, and that becomes confusing with the children because they don't have that background coming in from kindergarten. Another challenge I see is that because it leaves out a lot of the other standards that was mentioned in the GPS or the CCC standards that was used to be implemented as well, the children don't have the solid prior knowledge.
Some of the things that I have found challenging as I have worked with implementing the Common Core with my fourth grade students is that the difficulties the parents are having being able to help with a child with homework and not understanding the new ways that we are getting children to think about working with numbers. Many of the parents are frustrated because not understanding and not being in class, and especially those parents who have been very active participants in their child's homework life are very frustrated and confused, especially when their child doesn't pay attention or doesn't take good notes in class, and then when they go home they can't be able to tell their parent how to help them or explain how to help them.
Okay, as far as implementing Common Core for special education students, it's challenging because the curriculum is so much more advanced, and it's hard for the regular ed student, so it's even harder for the special ed student. And it seems to me that in Common Core there's a lot more steps to go through, and with my students it's harder sometimes for them to learn 2 steps, much less 10 to do one problem in math. And then as far as reading goes, the passages are so much harder, and they expect our children to be more on grade level, which is very hard for them. So you have to make more accommodations, but then when they take their test in the spring, they won't have all those accommodations.
Miss Matthews, principal at Oliver Elementary School in Riverdale, Georgia, also shares her insight on the challenges her school has faced since the implementation of the Common Core state standards. What are some challenges that your school has faced since the implementation of Common Core?
Well, I feel there have been several challenges, although I feel Common Core is definitely a good thing and it does increase rigor and allow students to not just regurgitate information but actually understand the content. It is a new way of learning, it's a new way of teaching. So the struggles have been providing professional development for our teachers to teach a new way and be more inventive with their teaching. And then it's been a struggle with just getting the students to learn a different way as well.
Let's take a look as a few teachers shared their personal thoughts about Common Core standards and how they have affected student performance in their classrooms.
What is your opinion about Common Core?
Common Core just really falls into the realm of the other standardized tests that they use to measure the children's performance nationally. I really don't agree with it. Really don't think its longevity is going to be for much longer. I just don't think it's a fair assessment for the children to be completely monitored on in terms of their passing or failing of completion of a grade, as well as being rated on their full understanding and knowledge of that particular subject area.
Some of the things I do like about the Common Core is that I have noticed that the way that children think about numbers and the way that children can manipulate numbers to solve problems quicker has been something that I've seen evolve as we have gone through and as I have worked with Common Core. But there's some things that I don't like about it, and the thing that is the lack. I've had the lack of, if the child does not pay attention or is not on top of things and refuses to participate in class, that automatically puts them at a deficit. Common Core has changed classroom performance because we talk about how different kids solve problems in different ways, but the important part has been being able to back up how they solve the problem. And if that's mathematically correct, we're not stuck with solving a problem one specific way. And in class, I can see how children are working together or can justify why they did what they did in solving a problem, or they can question another student if in their solving of a problem if it was worked a different way. I do like that because it causes the kids to think, and it also causes them to be able to support their decisions as to why they solve the problem and to be able to back it up mathematically.
As far as how it's changing student performance in the classroom, I would say special education students are becoming more frustrated because it's so much more challenging and they have so much more to learn, and they're expected to do more on grade level. So I can just see more of the frustration in their eyes, even with accommodations.
How has Common Core affected your school's performance data?
Well, 2014, 2015 was the first year that with implementing Common Core, our students were actually testing and it counted for the Georgia milestones, and our scores did go down, but that's to be expected. This is a new curriculum, like I said, a new way of teaching, a new way of learning for students, so I predict that the first 2 to 3 years, the scores are probably going to be pretty low, and then they'll take a turn and head upward.
Despite the challenges that the Common Core state standards present, they intend to prepare our students to be college and career ready. In order for this to take place, educators must equip students with the knowledge they need to be able to compete on a global and national level. With this being said, let us leave you with some ways that educational stakeholders say will help everyone deal with the challenges they are faced with. Awareness is the key. Know and understand what the students need to know and be able to do in order to be successful. Also, utilize your resources.